And how did you interpret what the Attorney General said today and the release of a redacted version of that report by Mr. Mueller?
Well, as you can imagine, here in Washington, D.C., and all across the country, we've been waiting for this since the end of the 2016 election, and especially since Special Counsel Mueller started his investigation. We're still digesting the report here, but I think the biggest thing that people are talking about now is that when the Attorney General made his kind of presentation of what he said we should think about the Mueller report before we actually got it, he sounded more like President Trump's attorney and not the Attorney General that works for the American people. And I think that's unfortunate because no matter what the conclusions and no matter what the next steps develop in, there will always be that tinge of partiality of an attorney general who we all know was specifically picked for his beliefs and issues with executive privilege and if a president can be indicted or can obstruct justice.
Once again, we hear the U.S. president calling the investigation a hoax, and members of the administration actually celebrating the no conclusion theory they have been trying to sell to Americans. Yet, the Attorney General has refused to release the full report. Do you think that there's more to that report than the Trump administration is actually letting on?
Well, yeah, I definitely think there's more to the report than they're letting on, but that's not a new thing. If you think about, I always try to remind myself that if this had been President Obama and his campaign CEO and his national security advisor had either pled guilty or been found guilty and were facing jail time, it would be a much different conversation here in Washington. And I think that all this underscores the bigger picture that when President Trump calls us a hoax, when all of his staff and his surrogates call this a hoax and a illegal investigation, nobody's talking about the fact that even Attorney General Barr said that Russia did indeed interfere in our elections, and I haven't heard yet what we're doing to make sure that doesn't happen in the next year.
Well, I know, of course, by the end of today, before the end of today, news media all across America will be dissecting this report. Now, for some of us in this part of the world watching, what are we supposed to understand about America at this time, Calvin?
Well, let me say this. I think apart from whatever we're going to see over the next few hours and days and weeks, the U.S. system of democracy, balance of powers is strong. So I think we're going to be all right. But I do think that this is going to be a very pivotal point in U.S. history. Are the Republicans and Democrats going to come together? And particularly Republicans, are they going to acknowledge what we have found or what their allegations of and think about what's best for our country and that strength of our democracy and not just what gives that party a benefit in 2020. So let's look for that, but we're going to be all right here in the United States.
All right. We hope for the best for everyone and for the country as well. Thank you so much for your time, Calvin Dark.
Thank you.